Lady Fu Xuan has finally arrived to the limited banner of Honkai Star Rail. And you know what they say? You can't spell Fu Xuan without... Wow! Today we're gonna be going over her kit, her eidolons, her best F2P builds at E0, and her best teammates. Without further ado, here's her moveset. Her basic attack deals quantum damage to a single target equal to a certain percentage of her max HP, which is kind of insane. This is a new thing they're doing, I think. They also did that for Lynx, and how handy would that have been for Bailu or Natasha? Moving on, her skill distributes damage taken by allies towards herself by creating a matrix of prescience for 3 turns. It grants the team knowledge, which increases max HP, based off her own max HP, and crit rates. Her ultimate deals quantum damage to all enemies equal to a certain percentage of her max HP, and increases the talent trigger count by 1. What's the talent? What's the talent trigger count? Glad you asked. Her talent can apply misfortune avoidance for the team as long as she is up and standing, which reduces damage taken. If her current HP falls below 50%, she will restore a certain percentage of missing HP, starting at 80%. Which is insane. Level 1, she will restore 80% of her HP, just because. Cracked. This health restore begins with a trigger count of 1 at the start of the battle and can hold a maximum of 2 counts. This is the talent trigger count plus 1 from the ultimate. Her technique creates a barrier which blocks ambushes, which is really fun because there's a lot of guys that I like to run away from. When entering battle, it activates her skill for 2 turns instead of the regular 3. Her traces go as follow. Her first one regenerates extra energy when the matrix of prescience is active and she uses her skill. The second one makes her ultimate heal other allies, which is really good and really important. And the third one makes it so that the team will resist crowd control debuffs once per matrix of prescience. As for priorities, you're going to want to level her skill, her talent, her ultimate, and her basic attack in that order. For her traces, the second one I think is the most important to unlock because that's the one that allows her to solo sustain by making her ultimate heal other allies. Afterwards, you're going to go for the first one and then the third one, because you don't have a choice. The third one comes later at like Ascension 4 or something. You don't have a choice. And now onto her eidolons, aka, are they okay at Hoyoverse? Cause god. Her E1 will make the knowledge effect also increase crit damage by 30% on top of the crit rate boost. Her E2 will make it so that if any team member is struck by a killing blow while the matrix of prescience is active, this ally or all of the allies who were struck by said killing blow will not die during this action. Instead, they will restore 70% of their max HP. This can happen once per battle. Her E3 will make it so that her skill and talent gain 2 levels for a maximum of 15. Her E4 makes it so that when other allies under the matrix of prescience are attacked, she will regenerate 5 energy. Her E5 makes it so that her ultimate gains 2 levels for a maximum of 15, her basic attack gains 1 for a maximum of 10, and her E6 makes her Fu Xuan DPS. When triggering Matrix of Prescience, it will start keeping a tally of the total HP loss by all team members, and then when she unleashes her ultimate, the damage will be increased by 200% of the tally that has been kept by the Matrix of Prescience. The tally is capped at 120% of Fu Xuan's max HP, and the tally value will reset and reaccumulate after Fu Xuan's ultimate is used. Personally, I think her E1 and E2 are the most important one. Just having her on E1 will already make a great difference, but having her on E2, this is like Bailu level stuff. Are we sure she's preservation? Maybe she's abundance and hiding? Maybe this is a Tingyun situation? As for lightcones, for 5-star lightcones, obviously her signature is going to be her best. She already shut her eyes with absolutely stunning artwork. I love it. Increases the wearer's max HP by 24% and energy regen rate by 12%. When her HP is reduced, all allies' damage dealt increases by 9% for 2 turns. And at the start of every wave, it will restore HP to all allies by 80% of the HP they have lost. Cracked. Insane. I'd choose her first eidolon over her signature lightcone if I could, because she has other great lightcone alternatives, and her E1 allows her to substitute as a harmony with the 30% crit damage bonus. Talking about good lightcones, Texture of Memories is quite the pick as well, especially because it's an F2P lightcone from the Herta store. It's also quite easy to take to S5. In comparison, Moment of Victory isn't bad per se, but other characters can make much better use of it. Meanwhile, Fu Xuan is currently one of the, if not the only preservation character who can use Texture of Memories at its full potential with the HP scaling shield. And so for those reasons, I think Texture of Memories is going to be her best F2P light cone. For 4-star light cones, We Are Wildfire can be a great pick during Simulated Universe if you plan on using her without a healer so that she heals allies every time a battle starts. But once you reach the elite boss, I'd switch to a different light cone. Landau's choice is a great one as well because it'll help her tank the damage she receives. Trend of the Universal Market is the one currently featured on the light cone banner, and I can see why, as Fu Xuan will be taking a lot of damage, thus triggering the burn effect often, but I think day 1 of My New Life would fare better. They both increase defense, but Universal Market's DOT damage scales off of defense, which isn't going to be her strongest stat. Day 1 of My New Life increases damage res for all allies, which means less damage for Fu Xuan to tank, thus lowering the chances of her going down. I would avoid This Is Me altogether, it's the pay to win one anyway, and it increases ultimate damage by scaling off of defense, which, as we said, isn't going to be her strongest stat. As for the 3-star light cones, defense and pioneering can be great for early game if you haven't leveled her talent and you need her to heal herself more. I would avoid using Ember as it scales off of defense. When it comes to relics, I think she's better off with 2 different 2-piece sets, but if you insist on using a 4-piece set, you can go with Guard of Wuthering Snow. The 4-piece effect isn't going to be the most useful though, unless you truly have issues with her energy regen and you cannot use her ultimate enough for her to heal properly. But this honestly shouldn't be the case. Passerby of Wandering Cloud and Longevous Disciple are the 2 other passable options, but again, you're gonna be better off with 2 different 2-piece sets. If you're early game and you have to choose between Musketeer of Wild Wheat and Thief of Shooting Meteor is gonna be the better option and will also help with her energy. For 2-piece sets, we actually have quite a couple options here, and they're gonna depend mostly on what light cone you end up choosing for her. The most general one is gonna be 2-piece Guard of Wuthering Snow and 2-piece Longevous Disciple. With this, you will have 8% less damage taken by her and a 12% increase on her max HP. If you have her signature light cone and plan on using her for solo sustain, you could afford to ditch the Longevous Disciple set in favor of a Passerby of Wandering Cloud 2-piece set, so she can heal her allies more efficiently with plus 10% outgoing healing. Our last option is Genius of Brilliant Star and Guard of Wuthering Snow or Longevous Disciple. Either or of those last 2 is going to be good. This depends on where her stats are at and if you need the additional HP or not. However, if you're going this route, it's probably for damage, so just remember more HP equals more damage with her. I don't particularly recommend it, but if you find that you enjoy the damage he does, this could be a good set. For early game, I think you're better off with the 4-piece Shooting Meteor set, but if you really want to use the Passerby of Wandering Cloud set from the TL rewards as a 2-piece set, if they have the right stats, you could probably get away with it just fine. For Planner Ornaments, I think this is a no-brainer, and her best set would be Broken Keel, especially if you have her on E1. However, still on E0, this is going to be a good kit for her. Her traces will provide a 10% effect res. If you use Texture of Memories, you will have an additional 8% on S1, a whole 16% on S5, and with this kit, you'll have another 10%. You won't have much to do to get her to 30% if you have anything to do at all, and you're gonna profit from that 10% crit damage without sacrificing anything because Texture of Memories is already a great, if not the second best light cone for her. You could also go for Fleet of the Ageless for 12% max HP, especially if you're early in the game and just unlocked Planner Ornaments. I can't say that I would recommend giving her speed as a main stat just to reach the plus 8% attack, but that's a valid option and I see why you would do that. Finally, Sprightly Von Whack may sound tempting, but I don't think the plus 5% energy regen or the 40% action advanced are going to make a big difference for her, whereas the other 2 kits will truly benefit not only her, but her whole team. For her relic stats, you're obviously going to want a lot of HP because literally everything she does scales off of her max HP, but consider making one of those main stat defense as well. She'll be taking a lot of damage, and having a defense main stat will help her tank it greatly. Unless you have her signature light cone, I'd recommend getting an energy regen rope if you can. This will greatly help her regain her ultimate, which will be very useful in keeping her alive. Aside from those 2, everything else can be HP. If you do choose to give her speed boots, again, I wouldn't, but I do see why you might, I'd sacrifice the defense main stat and try to regain it through substats. You can't do that for the regen rope, so I would keep that one. Talking about substats, you're going to be looking for HP percent, defense percent, effect res, even if you already have 30% for Broken Keel, because after all, she's more useful when she's able to do things. And lastly, break effect, because that's always useful. Her crit rate boost doesn't scale off of her own crit rate, so you don't need to worry about that. What's really fun about Fu Xuan is that she's a very versatile character, and she'll be able to slide right in with most teams. With her and Lynx's addition, you can now make the mono quantum team of your dreams. given that you have either Silver Wolf or Sela. It's not very F2P. You could also replace Lynx with a Harmony character. Bronya is an interesting pick if you have her because she will increase your team's crit damage. Coupled with Fu Xuan's crit rate increase, this is a killer combo. Tingyun is also a great Harmony character to pair with Fu Xuan since you can use her ultimate to regen Fu Xuan's energy if in a dire situation. I found that when doing Echo of War with her, I could easily bring along a Harmony character and 2 DPS characters, or a Harmony, a DPS, a Nihility character and face no issues despite not having an Abundance character. I faced some scares, but no actual issues. I haven't been able to test this in Simulated Universe as I did not pull Fu Xuan. It's a matter of time, 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 it's a matter of time. But I think she could hold up just fine, especially on the path of abundance. Another character I'd pair her with is actually Clara, since she relies on being hit, but not necessarily on losing HP. This could allow for Clara to be more focused on her damage output rather than on her tankiness, while Fu Xuan could guarantee her survival. The only characters that I would be careful about with her are Blade and Arlen, and any other upcoming character whose kit relies on losing HP. On one hand, this may not be the optimal pairing because both of these characters truly thrive on having low health, and Fu Xuan's very role is to stop allies from getting to low health. On the other hand, Fu Xuan will increase their max HP, which is great for them, but she is also the better preservation character to bring along if you know you're gonna need one and you're dead set on bringing either Blade or Arlen along. This is the first time I'm saying that sentence right from beginning to end, because every time I read the script, Arlen and along becomes Arlong. Shielders like Japard and March will outright stop damage from reaching their allies. March's shield increases the odds of getting attacked, so even if you don't shield Blade, you're still losing out on damage he could be taking. And Fire MC does pretty much the same thing with her taunt. Meanwhile, with Fu Xuan, a Blade type of character will at least still take damage, even if less, and will still benefit from the added max HP and crit rate. If you're a Blade or Arlen main and you really want them on your team, Fu Xuan is going to be the best preservation character to bring along with you if you really need a preservation character. With all of this in mind, is Fu Xuan a character worth pulling for? Is she any good without her signature light cone? Or at E0? Yes, actually, yeah. I think she's gonna become one of those characters where if you didn't pull for her during her banner, you're probably gonna find yourself wishing you had, and maybe hoping to catch her on a rerun banner, a bit like Lucha. I know someone who would have been sad if they didn't pull Lucha on Pity 23. You know? She's a quite easy character to build. Her proficiency doesn't depend too much on all her substats rolling just right. She has very good F2P lightcone options, and in the right conditions, she can save you a spot in your team and solo sustain so you don't have to bring a healer, which allows you to bring more damage output to your team. The space that she does take is also incredibly well used with her crit rate boost and her potential for crit damage boost with Broken Keel. I think she's a character who shines in most of the game's content, not just in Memory of Chaos or Simulated Universe. She's also very pretty and she's cool and her colored palette is fantastic and she's pink and she has purple and gold accent and she's really... That's all for me. I'm gonna go speedrun Swarm Disaster now, because 20 pulls away from Soft Pity. I need those jades. I'm on guarantee, so yeah. Tell me if you understand how her light cone works, because I think it's cracked, but also, what's a wave? What's a wave? Is it every time she has a turn? I don't know. I'm too broke. I can't pull for her light cone. I don't know. With that said, Vyren out. It's a lie, I'm not even gonna go speedrun Swarm Disaster. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I can't do that today. I have to edit this and I'm this close to collapsing, so... Doodles!